It was a tale of a lone Japanese soldier, a phantom who still believed World War II was raging. This wasn't a myth. This was the unbelievable true story of Second Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda. Our story begins in 1944. The war in the Pacific is turning against Japan. A young, fiercely dedicated intelligence officer named Hiroo Onoda is dispatched to the small Philippine island of Lubang. His orders are clear and absolute. Hold the island at all costs, disrupt enemy operations, and never, ever surrender. He is explicitly told, it may take 3 years, it may take five, but whatever happens will come back for you. Until then, so long as you have one soldier, you are to continue to lead him. When Allied forces landed on Lubang in February 1945, the Japanese garrison was quickly overwhelmed. Most were killed or captured. But Onoda, true to his training, melted into the jungle with three other soldiers: Corporal Shoichi Shimada, Private Kinshichi Kozuka, and Private Yuchi Akatsu. They were cut off, but their mission in their minds was just beginning. For the next few years, they lived off the land, surviving on bananas, coconuts, and stolen cattle from local farms. They saw the war's end as a trick. Leaflets dropped from planes announcing Japan's surrender, propaganda, newspapers left behind by search parties, enemy lies, broadcasts from family members pleading for them to come home. A clever ruse, using actors to imitate their loved ones' voices. Their training had prepared them for this, for psychological warfare. Every attempt to contact them only reinforced their belief that the war was still on. Their small group was a microcosm of a disciplined military unit. They maintained their rifles meticulously, hoarding every single bullet. They patched their uniforms with whatever they could find. Their days were a grueling routine of patrols, intelligence gathering, and evading what they believed were enemy patrols, but were actually local police and islanders. Life in the jungle was brutal. The humidity was a constant, suffocating blanket. Insects were relentless. Tropical diseases were a constant threat. And the psychological toll was immense. In 1949, after 5 years of this isolated existence, Private Akatsu had had enough. He slipped away from the group and, after 6 months alone in the jungle, surrendered to Filipino forces. For Onoda, this wasn't a surrender. It was a desertion, a security breach. It made him and the remaining two soldiers, Shimada and Kosuka, even more cautious, more convinced they were deep in enemy territory. The years bled into one another. The 1940s became the 1950s. The world outside was changing at a dizzying pace. The Cold War was in full swing. Humanity was reaching for the stars, and Japan was transforming into an economic powerhouse. But on Lubang, time was frozen in 1945. For Onoda and his men, the enemy was everywhere. Their guerrilla war continued, leading to tragic and fatal skirmishes with local villagers and police who were simply trying to live their lives. In 1954, another tragedy struck. During a clash with a search party, Corporal Shimada was shot and killed. Now only two remained, Onoda and Private Kazuka. For another 18 years, the two men held their post. They were phantoms, their existence a mix of local legend and a painful reality for the islanders. They would listen to a small stolen transistor radio, but they interpreted the news through their own warped lens. The Vietnam War, it was proof that Japan's fight was continuing elsewhere. The economic boom in Japan, propaganda to lull the home front into a false sense of security. Then, in October 1972, the unthinkable happened. During a raid on a rice storage, Kozuka was killed by local police. After 27 years of fighting alongside him, Hiroo Onoda was finally completely alone. For the next year and a half, he continued his mission solo. He was a 50-year-old man, still fighting a war that had ended when he was just 23. The outside world hadn't entirely forgotten him. But every attempt to find him had failed. That is, until a young Japanese adventurer and student named Norio Suzuki arrived on Lubang in 1974. Suzuki wasn't a soldier or a government official. He was a free spirit who had told his friends his life to find Lieutenant Onoda. A panda and the abominable snowman in that order. Incredibly, After just 4 days of searching, Suzuki found him. He stumbled upon Onoda's camp and called out. Onoda, wary, emerged with his rifle. But Suzuki was different. He wasn't a soldier. He spoke to Onoda with genuine warmth and respect. He told him the war was over, that the emperor and the people of Japan were worried about him. For the first time, a crack appeared in Onoda's 30-year-old conviction. He listened, but he still couldn't surrender. His orders were to hold his post until his commanding officer returned to formally relieve him of duty. He told Suzuki that he was waiting for Major Yoshimi Taniguchi. Suzuki returned to Japan with this incredible news and a photograph to prove it. The Japanese government, stunned, located Major Taniguchi. He was now an old man, working in a bookstore, long retired from the military. They flew him to Lubang Island. On March 9, 1974, Major Taniguchi, wearing his old uniform, walked into a clearing and faced his subordinate. He read the formal orders of surrender. For Hiroo Onoda, standing stiffly at attention in his tattered but clean uniform, the war was finally, officially, over. He handed over his service rifle, still in perfect working order, his ammunition, and his samurai sword. After 29 years, his mission was complete. His return to Japan was a media sensation. He was a time capsule, a walking symbol of a bygone era of duty and sacrifice. But he found a Japan he no longer recognized. The values he had fought and nearly died for seemed to have vanished. He struggled to adapt to this new, modern world. Later, he moved to Brazil to start a cattle ranch, finding peace in the wide open spaces. He eventually returned to Japan to run nature camps for kids, hoping to impart some of the survival skills and resilience he had learned. Hiroo Onoda's story is not just a tale of survival. It's a profound and complex story about the power of belief, the nature of duty, and the human cost of war. It forces us to ask, what is the line between unwavering dedication and tragic illusion? How does a person's reality become so detached from the world? Onoda was a soldier who followed his orders to the absolute letter, a ghost of a forgotten war who lived in a world of his own, making for nearly 30 years. His is a story that, once heard, is impossible to forget. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible true stories, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.